Fellow counter-revolutionaries, you are a magnificent sight, and it ought to give you great pleasure to know that you are joined by thousands upon thousands of citizens in cities throughout this land, from sea to shining sea, who are doing the same thing you are. They're giving notice to their congressional overseers that we, the American people, are reasserting our sovereignty and our rights as citizens of a free republic. We cannot say these words often enough, so say them now with me. We hold these truths to be that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by with certain rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And here's the part that Congress has forgotten, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new governments. President Obama was asked recently if he considered America exceptional, and he said, sure, the way a Brit thinks Britain is exceptional, or a Greek thinks Greece is exceptional. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution rests. No more contemptuous utterance has ever been offered by someone holding the office of President of the United States. This is an exceptional nation. It was founded by exceptional statesmen. They drafted a declaration which, although it enunciates universal truths, was exceptional in doing so. They drafted an exceptional constitution that was exceptional in delegating to the government only certain limited, enumerated powers. This is an exceptional nation. We are here to reclaim our heritage as citizens of the United States of America. The current administration and congressional majority explicitly repudiate that notion. They are dissatisfied with the ideals of the American founding, considering them inadequate for our age. They want to transform America. Transform America into what? Into just another European-style social welfare, cradle-to-grave nanny state, suffused with top-down, command and control, one-size-fits-all bureaucracies, managing everything from your health to what you exhale. You think I'm joking about that last point? What is cap and trade? It is the notion that what you exhale constitutes a pollutant that must be regulated by the federal government. If the feds can regulate your breathing, what is safe? This election will be a test of national character. It is going to reveal who we are as a people. Are we, in fact, the helpless victims that our overseers in Washington think we are? Or are we people who want nothing more than to be left alone? Now, what's happening in Washington is obscene. The healthcare takeover was passed only through legalized bribery. The Cornhusker kickback, the Louisiana Purchase, the Gatorade, you've seen it all. Those were your dollars being spent. I'm not a graffiti artist, but every time I see one of those big billboards that says, "This project funded by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act," I want to take a can of spray paint to it and say, "Bull, this project funded by Madison, Jonas, Ariel, and Benjamin, my 14, 12, 10, and 8-year-old kids who are going to be covering the debt that you're running up to pay for it." The American creed is simple and it's clear. Thomas Jefferson said it best: "A wise and frugal government shall restrain men from injuring one another, and shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This," he said, "is the sum of good government." Calvin Coolidge said much the same thing. "I want the people of America," he said, "to work less for the government and more for themselves." I want them to keep the fruits of their own industry. That is the chief meaning of freedom. Well, he was right. And my hero and my family's friend, Ronald Reagan, said, "We are told that we must choose between a left and a right." But President Reagan went on, "I submit to you, there is no left and right. There is only up or down. Up to mankind's age-old dream of the maximum in individual liberty consistent with order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism. That is the choice we face here. And every time somebody says, just give up a little bit of your freedom because we're going to give you government-guaranteed security, it is a devil's bargain. They're lying to you. Don't believe it. Now, what's happening in Washington is an insult to the American people and an affront to the American Constitution. But we're not here just to protest. We're going to protest on November 2nd. We're not here to complain. Congress is going to hear our complaint on November 2nd. And we're not here to send a message. Congress is going to get our message loud and clear on November 2nd. But we are here to reaffirm our faith in the founding principles of this great nation. In conclusion, may God bless each one of us to be worthy, to do everything we can to follow in the footsteps of our forebears who pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors to secure for us the blessings of liberty. So that when we say, God bless America, He indeed will. Now, if anything I have said resonates with you, this isn't my campaign, this is your fight too. I have the privilege and honor of being a spokesman for the views and values that all of us share. You know that my dad worked side by side with Governor Reagan for their 8 years in California politics. One of the most inspiring things I ever heard Reagan say was this. You remember in 1980 when he ran against President Carter, talk about an uphill battle. There was no talk radio then. There was no cable. There was no internet. He had to communicate his message through the big three networks, and they hated him. And yet he managed to communicate it anyway. He talked right through them to the hearts of the American people. Jimmy Carter told the American people, trust me. And Reagan thought about that, and Reagan said, don't trust me. You trust your values, and you hold me accountable for putting them into practice. That's what this campaign is all about. Your values are right. They are the values of the American founding. They are the principles that gave this land its freedom and preserved its freedom for more than 2 centuries. They are the principles that make people still, from the nastiest despotisms in the world, yearn for nothing more than to come here and breathe free. Now, John Adams, our second president, said something that we ought to remember. There are 2 ways, he had said, to enslave a nation. One is by arms. The other is by debt. To the congressional overseers who have chosen the latter course for us, my message is, time's up. We're coming to get you. There is no place to hide. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tea Party is America. The Tea Party is you. God bless America.
Thank you, sir. God bless America.